Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गौर भक्त वृंद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कंचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदानेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये लो श्री राधे गोलोकानंद भगवान की जय श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय हरे कृष्णा
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Krishna.
शुरू करते हैं तो लास्ट टाइम हम लोग we have been reading canto 5, right? We completed 4 cantos. Canto 5 is about the creative impetus. So we read about, first we read about Maharaj Uttanpad, who is son of Shambhu Manu, who is son of Lord Brahma. And then we read about the descendants of Maharaj Uttanpad. Yeah. And most importantly, we read about Dhruv Maharaj there. And then we read about Prithu Maharaj and then, the descendants. Then Maharaj Priyavrata is what we are reading about right now. So Maharaj Priyavrata is also son of, whose son is Maharaj Priyavrata? So Maharaj Priyavrata is also brother of Maharaj Uttanpad. Yeah, who is son of whom? Yeah, it's long weekend, right? So first Manu, right? Shambhu Manu. So Shambhu Manu had 2 sons, Uttanpad Maharaj and Priyavrata Maharaj. Yeah, and that's what we are reading right now about, is about Priyavrata Maharaj. So हम लोग देख रहे थे, we read about Bharat Maharaj, right? Who's son of Nabhi and then son of Lord Rishabdev, right? Lord Rishabdev was also again incarnation of Lord Vishnu. And then son of Lord Rishabdev, Bharat Maharaj. So we read about the whole story of Bharat Maharaj, how he ruled the whole universe, and then he took the sannyas, and then he got in attached to a deer, then he came back as a deer in the next life, and then he came back as in a Brahmin family in the next life, right? And then how he then went back to Godhead. That's what we have been reading. So we'll continue the 5th canto, and we are on chapter 15. Yeah, and chapter 15 is about the glories of the descendants of King Priyavrata. Yeah, last time we were reading, between King Rahugan and Jad Bharat story, if you remember, right? And then Sukhdev Goswami Ji was explaining how this material world is like a great forest of enjoyment, like everyone is attached to the sense enjoyment, and because of that, we are always in the material world, life after life, is what was explained there. So now let's read about the glories of descendants of King Priyavrata. Yeah. So we have been reading about that, like Bharat Maharaj and King Nabhi, but this will be continued reading of descendants of Priyavrata Maharaj. So let's start at chapter 15. Dilji.
Shri Shuka Vacha Bharatasyaatmajaha Sumatirnamabhihito Yamuha Vav Kechit Pakhandina Rishabh Padavi Manu Vartamanam Chanarya Ved Samagnatam Devatam Samanisham Papi Yasya Kalo Kalpeshanti. Srila Sukadev Goswami continued, the son of Maharaja Bharat, known as Sumati, followed the path of Rishabdev, but in the age of Kali, some unscrupulous people will imagine him to be Lord Buddha himself. These people who will actually be atheistic and of bad character will interpret the Vedic principles in an imaginary, infamous way to support their activities. Thus, these sinful people will accept Sumati as Lord Buddhadev and propagate the theory that everyone should follow the principles of Sumati. In this way, they will be carried away by mental concoction. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So what is being forecasted is that the son of Maharaj Bharat, his name is Sumati, and he follows the path of Lord Rishabdev. Yeah. So, and then some people were treating him like Lord Buddha himself because Lord Buddha was, due to some reasons which you read, was also teaching an atheistic kind of philosophy like the Mayavadis, right? So, what is being mentioned here is these people who will actually be atheistic, bad character. Why atheistic? Because they will believe in like some super, they believe in the soul, but they won't believe in the supreme personality of Godhead, right? So you don't really believe in a God, you just believe in the whole environment. And then those are being described as atheistic people in this, So they will basically follow the imaginary, infamous ways to support their activities because Vedic principles state that there is a supreme personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. So interesting purport. Let's read this. Tarun.
Those who are Aryans strictly follow the Vedic principles, but in this age of Kali, a community has sprung up known as the Arya Samaj, whose members are ignorant of the import of the Vedas in the Parampara system. They decry all bona fide acharyas and pose themselves as the real followers of the Vedic principles, but in fact, such non-Aryans do not follow the Vedic principles. Another group of non-Aryans are the Jains, who are referred to in the present verse. Not only do they not follow the Vedic principles, but they have no relationship with Lord Buddha, though they claim to. Imitating the behavior of Sumati, they also claim to be descendants of Rishabdeva. Those who are Vaishnavas carefully avoid their company because they are ignorant of the path of the Vedas. In Bhagavad Gita 15.15, Krishna says, Vedyas cha sarver aham eva vedyaha. The real purpose of the Vedas is to understand me. This is the injunction of all Vedic literatures. One who does not know the greatness of Lord Krishna cannot be accepted as an Aryan. Lord Buddha, an incarnation of Lord Krishna, adopted a particular means to propagate the philosophy of Bhagavata Dharma. He preached almost exclusively among atheists. Atheists do not want any God. And Lord Buddha therefore said that there is no God, but he adopted the means to instruct his followers for their benefit. Therefore, he preached in a duplicitous way, saying that there is no God. Nonetheless, he himself was the incarnation of God. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, it's very interesting. तस्मात् वृद्धसेनायां देवताजिनां पुत्र अभवत्. From Sumati, a son named Devatajit was born by the womb of his wife named Vruddhasena. Ajay?
Hello, dog is barking, so I had to put it on mute. Atha Surya Tattanayo Devdyumna Stato Dhenu Matyam Sutah Parmeshthi Tasya Survachalayam Pratih Upjatah. Therefore, in the womb of Asuri, the wife of Devadrit, a son named Devadimna was begotten. Devadimna begot in the womb of his wife Dhenumati a son named Paramesthi. Paramesthi begot a son named Pratiha in the womb of his wife Survachala. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So what we are reading is about the descendants of Priyavrata Maharaj. And generally the way it's described, and then wherever there is importance of the Bhagavad Gyan and the devotees, right? Like Bharat Maharaj, and then those are described in more detail, right? So, Tarun?
Ye Atma Vidyam Akhyaya Swayam Samsudho Mahapurusham Anusam Sasmara. King Pratitha personally propagated the principles of self-realization. In this way, not only was he purified, but he became a great devotee of the Supreme Person, Lord Vishnu, and directly realized him. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So King Pratitha actually realized Lord Vishnu. Anil?
Yeah. Pratihasu Varchalayam Harkradayasya Asannidya Kovidaha Sunavaha Pratihartuhu Stuttamaj Bhumana Vajnishatam. In the womb of his wife Suvarchala, Pratiha begot three sons named Pratiharta, Prastuta, and Udgata. These three sons were very expert in performing Vedic rituals. Pratiharta begot two sons named Aja and Bhum in the womb of his wife named Suti. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Ajay? Ajay?
Sure. Bhumna Rishi Kulya Yamudrit Tastatah Prastavo Dev Kulyayam Prastan Vani Yuttasayam Hidayaj Asidvi Bhurvibho Ratyam Cha Prashena Prithushrena Istasmanakat Akuntja Jagge Nakta Dvadidu Triputo Gayo Rajarshi Pravar Udar Shava Ajayat Sakshad Gavato Vishnu Jagadish Shreya Grihitva Satvasya Kala Atmavatma Vadi Lakshanen Mahapurushanta. In the womb of his wife Rasikulya, King Bhum begot a son named Udgitha. From Udgitha's wife Devkulya, a son named Prastava was born, and Prastava begot a son named Vibhu through his wife Nyutsa. In the womb of his wife Rati, Vibhu begot a son named Prithsen. Prithsen begot a son named Nakta in the womb of his wife named Akuti. Nakta's wife was Druti, and from her womb the great king Gaya was born. Gaya was very famous and pious. He was the best of saintly kings. Lord Vishnu and his expansions, who were meant to protect the universe, are always situated in the transcendental mode of goodness known as Vishuddha Sattva. Being the direct expansion of Lord Vishnu, King Gaya was also situated in Vishuddha Sattva. Because of this, Maharaja Gaya was fully equipped with transcendental knowledge. Therefore, he was called Mahapurush. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So ultimately King Gaya, who is the extension of Lord Vishnu himself, right? was born. सर्वधर्मेण प्रजापालन पोषण प्रीणनोपलालन अनुशासन लक्षणेन जादिना च भगवती महापुरुषे परावरे ब्रह्माणि सर्वात्मानि अर्पित परमार्थ लक्षणेन ब्रह्म विचरणानुसेवया आपादित भगवत भक्ति योगेन चाभिक्षरक्ष परिभावितातिशुद्ध मतिरूपरता नाम्य आत्मनि स्वयमुपलभ्यमान ब्रह्मात्मानुभवोऽपि निरभिमान एवावनि मजुगुपत. King Gaya gave full protection and security to the citizens so that their personal property would not be disturbed by undesirable elements. He also saw that there was sufficient food to feed all the citizens. This is called Poshan. He would sometimes distribute gifts to the citizens to satisfy them. This is called Prinan. He would sometimes call meetings and satisfy the citizens with sweet words. This is called Upalalana. He would also give them good instructions on how to become first-class citizens. This is called Anushashan. Such were the characteristics of King Gaya's royal order. Besides all this, King Gaya was a householder who strictly observed the rules and regulations of household life. He performed sacrifices and was an unalloyed pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was called Mahapurush because as a king, he gave the citizens all facilities, and as a householder, he executed all his duties so that at the end, he became a strict devotee of the Supreme Lord. As a devotee, he was always ready to give respect to other devotees and to engage in the devotional service of the Lord. This is called Bhakti Yoga process. Due to all these transcendental activities, King Gaya was always free from the bodily conception. He was full in Brahma realization, and consequently, he was always jubilant. He did not experience material lamentation. Although he was perfect in all respects, he was not proud, nor was he anxious to rule the kingdom. Yeah? So this is how King Gaya's characteristic is described. Right? Tarun?
tasyam mam gatham pad pandaveya tvaravida upagayanti. My dear King Parikshit, those who are learned scholars in the histories of the Puranas eulogize and glorify King Gaya with the following verses. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Ravi?
Hare Krishna. Hare
One
Krishna,
time?
everyone. हाँ
म्यूट पे गया.
श्लोक पढ़ना है ना.
हाँ.
गायं नृपः क प्रतियाति कर्मभि यज्वाभिमानी बहुविश्वं गोप्ता समागत श्री सदस्पति संता सत्वसेवकोन्यो भगवत कलामृते. The great King Gaya used to perform all kinds of Vedic rituals. He was highly intelligent and expert in studying all the Vedic literature. He maintained the religious principles and possessed all kind of opulence. He was a leader among gentlemen and a servant of the devotee. He was a totally qualified plenary expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, who could equal him in the performance of Jyajanetic ritualistic ceremonies? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So King Gaya, is referred as a plenary expansion of Lord Vishnu himself. and he showed how the devotional service should be, is what is mentioned here. Ajay?
Sure. यमभ्याशिश्चन परया मुदा सती सत्याशिषो दक्षकन्या सरिद्भिः यस्य प्रजाना दुदुहे धरा निराशिषो गुणवत्सस्तु तोधाः. All the chaste and honest daughters of Maharaja Daksh, such as Shraddha, Maitri, and Daya, whose blessings were always effective, bathed Maharaja Gaya with sanctified water. Indeed, they were very satisfied with Maharaja Gaya. The planet Earth personified came as a cow, and as though she saw her calf, she delivered milk profusely when she saw all the good qualities of Maharaja Gaya. In other words, Maharaja Gaya was able to derive all benefits from the earth and thus satisfy the desires of his citizens. However, he personally had no desire. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So this is how Maharaj Gaya's characteristic is being described. Hare Krishna, Rinaji?
Hare Krishna, yeah, Hare Krishna, everyone. Chandasya kamasya cha yasya kamandu duha raj hyuratho balim nripa pratyanchita yudhi dharmen viprayadashisham shasthamasham parityaha. Although King Gaya had no personal desire for sense gratification, all his desires were fulfilled by virtue of his performance of Vedic rituals. All the kings with whom Maharaj Gaya had to fight were forced to fight on religious principles. They were very satisfied with his fighting, and they would present all kinds of gifts to him. Similarly, all the Brahmanas in his kingdom were very satisfied with King Gaya's munificent charities. Consequently, the Brahmanas contributed a sixth of their pious activities for King Gaya's benefit in the next life. Hare Krishna.
Anilji?
यस्याध्वरे भगवान् दुरात्मां भूनि माद्युरुसोमपीठे श्रद्धा विशुद्धाचल भक्तियोग समर्पितेद्या फलमाजहार. In Maharaja Gaya's sacrifices, there was a great supply of the intoxicant known as som. King Indra used to come and become intoxicated by drinking large quantities of somras. Also, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, the Yajna Purusha, also came and personally accepted all the sacrifices offered unto him with pure and firm devotion in the sacrificial arena. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. It is Shraddha Vishuddha Chal Bhakti Yoga. Yeah? All the yagna, right, are personally accepted by Lord Vishnu himself, depending on the devotee. What is the mentioned here? Ajay? You're in mute.
Yat प्रीणना द्वहर्षि देवर्त्यंग मनुष्य वीरुत्र राम विरिंचात प्रीते सद्य सह विश्वजीत जीव प्रीतः स्वयं प्रीति मगाद्वयस्य. When the Supreme Lord is pleased by a person's actions, automatically all the demigods, human beings, animals, birds, bees, creepers, trees, grass, and all other living entities, beginning with Lord Brahma, are pleased. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the super soul of everyone, and he is by nature fully pleased. Nonetheless, he came to the arena of Maharaj Gaya and said, I am fully pleased. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Lord Vishnu himself came and this Tarun?
It is explicitly stated herein that simply by satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one satisfies the demigods and all other living entities without differentiation. If one pours water on the root of a tree, all the branches, twigs, flowers, and leaves are nourished. Although the Supreme Lord is self-satisfied, he was so pleased with the behavior of Maharaj Gaya that he personally came to the sacrificial arena and said, "I am fully satisfied. Who can compare to Maharaj Gaya?"
Hare Krishna. Bhavi?
गयाद्रयस्था चित्ररथः सुगति वरोयम इति त्रय पुत्रा ब्रभुश्री अर्या द्रोणार्या सम्राटड जनिष्ठ तत उत्कलायां मरीचिर्मरीचे चिन्दुर्मत्या किटुमानु दम्पदथ तस्मा सर्घाया माधुर्नामा भवनमोयो सुगनसी योर्यवत्र स्ततोः भोजायां मन्त्रु प्रमन्थु जघ्याथे मन्योः सत्यायां भवनस्ततो दुष्टनाया त्वष्टा जनिष्ठ त्वष्टु चिरोचयानायां विरजो चिरजस्य शतचित्रप्रभमं पुत्रशतः कन्या च विमुच्या किल जातम्. In the womb of Gayanti, Maharaj Gaya begot 3 sons named Chitrarath, Sugati, and Avarodhana. In the womb of his wife Urja or Urna. Chitrarath begot a son named Samrat. The wife of Samrat was Utkala, and in her womb Samrat begot a son named Marichi. In the womb of his wife Bindumati, Marichi begot a son named Bindu. In the womb of his wife Saragata, Bindu begot a son named Madhu. In the womb of his wife named Sumana, Madhu begot a son named Virvrata. In the womb of his wife Bhoj, Varvrat begot 2 sons named Madhu, Mantu and Pramanthu. In the womb of his wife Satya, Madhu begot a son named Bharvana, and in the womb of his wife Dusana, Bhavana begot a son named Tvastha. In the womb of his wife Virokhana, Tvastha begot a son named Virja, and the wife of Virja was Visuchi, and in her womb Viraj begot 100 sons of 1 and 1 daughter. Of all these sons, the son named Satyajit was predominant. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So what we are reading is really about the descendants of Maharaj Priyavrata, how the universe kept expanding, right? Anilji?
Ayam shloka Priyavrtam vanshamimam Birajascha Modvaha Akarodattam Dattalam Kirtya Vishnu Surganam Yatha. There is a famous verse about King Viraj. Because of his high qualities and wide fame, King Viraj became the jewel of the dynasty of King Priyavrata. Just as Lord Vishnu, by his transcendental potency, decorates and blesses the demigods. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. No? So this ends the Bhaktivedanta purpose of the 5th canto, 15th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Glories of the Descendants of King Priyavrata. Bolo Srimad Bhagavatam ki.
Yeah.
Jai.
So we still have some time. We'll continue reading chapter 16. And chapter 16 is about a description of Jambudvip. Yeah, how the Jambudvip is and how it is spread and how big it is and all that. So very interesting. So let's continue reading this. Rinaji?
राजोवाच उक्तस्त्वया भूमण्डलायामविशेषो यावदादित्यस्तपति यत्र चासौ ज्योतिषां गणेशचन्द्रमा वा सह दृश्यते. King Parikshit said to Sukdev Goswami, O Brahman, you have already informed me that the radius of Bhumandal extends as far as the sun spreads in light and heat and as far as the moon and all the stars can be seen. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yeah. Again, a nice purport. Let's read this. Tarun?
In this verse, it is stated that the planetary system known as Bhumandala extends to the limits of the sunshine. According to modern science, the sunshine reaches Earth from a distance of 93 million miles. If we calculate according to this modern information, 93 million miles can be considered the radius of Bhumandala. In the Gayatri mantra, we chant Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha. The word Bhur refers to Bhumandala. Tatta Situr Varenyam. The sunshine spread throughout Bhumandala. Therefore, the sun is worshipable. The stars which are known as nakshatra are not different suns as modern astronomers suppose. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anilji?
From Bhagavad Gita 10.21, we understand that the stars are similar to the moon. Nakshatram aham sasi. Like the moon, the stars reflect the sunshine. Apart from our modern distinguished estimations of where the planetary systems are located, we can understand that the sky and its various planets were studied long before Srimad Bhagavatam was compiled. Sukadev Goswami explained the location of the planets, and this indicates that the information was known long before Sukadev Goswami related it to Maharaja Parikshit. The location of the various planetary systems was not unknown to the sages who flourished in the Vedic age. Hare Krishna.
Ajay?
तत्रापि प्रियव्रत रथ चरण परिखाते सप्तभि सप्त सिंधव उपकृत्या यत एतस्याः सप्तद्वीप विशेष विकल्पस्या भगवान खलु सुचित एत देव खालिमहं मानतो लक्षण तस्य सर्व विजिज्ञासामि. My dear Lord, the rolling wheels of Maharaja Priyavrata's chariot created 7 ditches in which the 7 oceans came into existence. Because of these 7 oceans, Bhumandal is divided into 7 islands. You have given a very general description of their measurements, names, and characteristics. Now I wish to know of them in detail. Kindly fulfill my desire. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So Parikshit Maharaj is asking Sukdev Goswami ji. Yeah, as we know, Sukdev Goswami ji is reciting Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj wants to know about the whole Bhumandal. And if you remember, we are reading about Maharaj Priyavrata. And when Maharaj Priyavrata was following the sun in his chariot, he created 7 ditches, which were the 7 oceans which came into existence. Yeah. Bhavi?
भगवते गुणमये स्तुत रूप अवशिते मनो हरगुणे पि सूक्ष्मतम आत्म ज्योतिषे परे ब्रह्माणि भगवती वासुदेवाय वाक्ये क्षमवर्जिते तदु हेतद गुरु हर्षन्युव आणि युति रणिमि युतिमिति. When the mind is fixed upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his external feature made of the material modes of nature, the gross universal form, it is brought to the platform of pure godness. In that transitional position, one can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, who is his sublunar form in self effulgent and beyond the modes of nature. O my Lord, please describe vividly how that form which covers the entire universe is perceived. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा. या परीक्षित महाराज पूछ रहे हैं सुखदेव गोस्वामी जी को कि प्लीज डिस्क्राइब दिस ग्रोस यूनिवर्सल फॉर्म. या like Virat Swarup, if you remember, of how the universe is composed of in the Virat Swarup and how everything is related, like those 14 planets, right? Like under the feet is Patalok, to the head, which is Brahmalok, right? This is how the Virat Swarup of Lord Vishnu is seen. And that's what Parikshit Maharaj is asking. Like, one understands the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vasudev, and Vasudev in his shuttle form, of course, is self-effulgent, and he is beyond the modes of nature. So even though he's saying like we understand Virat Swarup with the modes of nature, right? Because that's what this material universe is, right? Satogun, Rajogun, and Tamogun. But Lord Vasudeva himself is beyond those modes of nature. He is not impacted by those. Rinaji?
ऋषिर्वाच न वै महाराज भगवतो माया गुण विभूते काष्ठां मनसा वचसा वादिगन्तुमलं विबुधाय युचापि पुरुषस्तास्मा प्राधान्ये नैव भूगोलकविशेषं नामरूप मानलक्षणतो व्याख्यास्यामः. The great Rishi Sukadeva Goswami said, "My dear king, there is no limit to the expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's material energy." Excuse me. This material world is a transformation of the material qualities, Sattva-gun, Rajogun, and Tamogun. Yet no one could possibly explain it perfectly, even in a lifetime as long as that of Brahma. No one in the material world is perfect, and an imperfect person could not describe this material universe accurately, even after continued speculation. O king, I shall nevertheless try to explain to you the principal regions such as Bhulok with their names, forms, measurements, and various symptoms. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so what Sukadeva Goswami is replying to Parikshit Maharaj is no one in this material world can really explain how this whole thing is transformed, right? How the material world is a transformation of the material qualities. No one can explain even in the lifetime of as long as that of Lord Brahma. What is the lifetime of Lord Brahma? What is the age of Lord Brahma? Remember how? What is the age of
4 billion, 32 million.
Yeah, that is just one day of Lord Brahma. 4 billion, 32 million years is just one day of Lord Brahma. Yeah. And the Lord Brahma's age is supposed to be around 350 trillion years. So even in that long age, no one could explain how this material world is transformed. But what Sukadeva Goswami is saying that I should still try to explain you the principal regions such as Bhulok, right? These earthly planets and how this is formed and its measurements and symptoms and all that. Very interesting. Yeah. Let's read this purport quickly and just finish up with that. So,
The material world is only 1/4 of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's creation, but it is unlimited and impossible for anyone to know or describe, even with the qualification of a life as long as that of Brahma, who lives for millions and millions of years. Modern scientists and astronomers try to explain the cosmic situation and the vastness of space, and some of them believe that all the glittering stars are different suns. From Bhagavad Gita, however, we understand that all those stars, nakshatras, are like the moon in that they reflect the sunshine. They are not independent luminaries. Bhuloka is explained to be that portion of outer space through which the heat and light of the sun extend. Therefore, it is natural to conclude that this universe extends in space as far as we can see and encompasses the glittering stars. Srila Sukdev Goswami admitted that to give full details of this expansive material universe would be impossible, but nevertheless he wanted to give the king as much knowledge as he had received through the Parampara system. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. We should conclude that if one cannot comprehend the material expansions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one certainly cannot estimate the expansiveness of the spiritual world. The Brahma Samhita 5.33 confirms this. Advaitam Achitam Anandim Ananta Rupam Siddham Purana Purusham Nava Ivana. The limits of the expansion of Govinda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, cannot be estimated by anyone, even a person as perfect as Brahma, not to speak of tiny scientists whose senses and instruments are all imperfect and who cannot give us information of even this one universe. We should therefore be satisfied with information obtainable from Vedic sources as is spoken by authorities like Sukadev Goswami. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So who can comprehend really all this material expansions of the Lord Purushottam himself? Like we cannot even understand the material world. How can we understand the spiritual world, right? And Lord Purushottam in Brahma Samhita by Lord Brahma himself is described as Advaitam Achutam Anadim Anantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Nava Yuva Namuncha. Yeah, that's Lord Sri Krishna. So I think we'll just pause here and let's hear a nice bhajan from one of the schools in Vrindavan, singing there Radhe Kishori Daya Karo. Yeah, very beautiful bhajan. Yes.
किशोरी दया करो राधे किशोरी दया करो श्यामा लाडली दया करो श्यामा लाडली दया करो राधे दया करो राधे दया करो दया करो राधे दया करो श्यामा लाडली दया करो राधे किशोरी दया करो हमसे दीन न कोई जग में हमसे दीन न कोई जग में बान दया की तनक धरो बान दया की तनक धरो बान दया की तनक धरो राधे किशोरी दया करो श्यामा लाडली दया करो यह विश्वास जो मन ही करो, यह विश्वास जो मन ही करो, यह विश्वास जो मन ही करो, राधे किशोरी दया करो, श्यामा लाडली दया करो। विषम विषय विष ज्वाल माल में, विषम विषय विष ज्वाल माल में, विविध ताप तापनि जुझरो, विविध ताप तापनि जुझरो, विविध ताप तापनि जुझरो, राधे किशोरी दया करो, श्यामा लाडली दया करो। कबहुत करुणा करोगी श्यामा, कबहुत करुणा करोगी श्यामा, यही आस ते द्वार पर, यही आस ते द्वार पर, यही आस ते द्वार पर, राधे किशोरी दया करो, राधे किशोरी दया करो, श्यामा लाडली दया करो, श्यामा लाडली दया करो, दया करो, राधे 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 दया करो, राधे किशोरी दया करो, राधे किशोरी दया करो, श्यामा लाडली दया करो, श्यामा लाडली दया करो। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे।
Okay, so nice bhajan, right? So in the Vrindavan school. I don't know, अनिल जी आप गए थे क्या वहाँ पे?
नहीं, मैं जा नहीं पाया था। या
हाँ, अच्छा, बड़ी प्यारी स्कूल है। ओके, वेरी नाइस। चलो, have a good night.
Okay.
See you tomorrow at 10 p.m. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna, good night.